All right, welcome back live. We continue right here, Pittsburgh CW, and also in hockey going on right now. The Vegas Golden Knights trail San Jose 3-2. Sharks looking to even that series. But earlier today in the Eastern Conference, we saw Game 1 between the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning, and the winner to take on the winner of Pittsburgh Washington. Boston looked real good today. Tuukka Rask made the necessary saves, even though a goal was scored upon him when he lost his skate blade and temporarily lost his mind. But other than that, Brad Marchand has been unbelievably good in the playoffs, and he was again today. A deflection goal. He also set up. Patrice Bergeron had 2 goals, did Marchand. That line with Pasternak is one of the better lines, if not the best line in hockey in terms of 1 through 3 and what they get out of it. And today they dominated Tampa Bay. So we'll see how that series goes. It should be a long one. Andrei Vasilevsky was not as good as he needed to be today, and the Bruins win on the road 6-2. Let's begin by going out to Jim in East Liberty. Hey, Jim, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bob?
How are you?
I just think the Steelers missed the draft. They like you said earlier, that they needed an inside linebacker, and it seems to me all they got was value picks. And the scouting report on the fullback and the nose tackle and the quarterback, they're all reaches.
Well, if you believe all that stuff, which, there are a lot of different opinions out there, and I'll say this to you, Jim, I do think I didn't expect this going in. I don't know what I expected in terms of how many defensive players, but I said out of the 7 picks, I thought 5 would go defense just because of their needs there. And, when you lose football games in the playoffs like they did to Jacksonville 45-42, right, you need help stopping the other team, clearly. And that was the case in 2 games against them and in critical times on 3rd down last year. So we'll see what they do. It's still a work in progress, but unless, again, they philosophically are changing some things, to put more defensive backs on the field, we'll see. I'm not so sure what's going on there, but they don't have a legit inside linebacker behind John Bostic. At this point, it's Tyler Matakevich and L.J. Fort, and I think you need a little bit more than that.
You think they're going to go to the free agent market?
Yeah, I think Lawrence Timmons is going to be signed, and some people don't like that. But, hey, listen, he's out there, and if it's for 1 year, I don't have a problem with that. As a depth player, I wouldn't look at him as a starter, but I would bring him in as a depth player just to have a warm body around. I'm not so sure what they're going to do with there, and we'll see. It still will reveal itself as time goes on.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jim. You too. Line 1 we go. It's Gary in Indiana. What's up in Indiana, Gary?
Hey, not too much, Bob. I love the shirt and tie combo. How are you doing?
Thanks. Appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I just wanted to say I'm a huge Oklahoma State fan, and I was wondering, what do you think the chances are my boy Mason Rudolph earns any playing time away from Ben Roethlisberger at St. Vincent this year?
A lot. Roethlisberger doesn't do much up there, and I fully expect that he won't play in the preseason games. I'm glad we have those games. We have all 4 of them again this year, and I want to see not only what Mason Rudolph can do, but what James Washington can do. They're going to count on him more so than Mason Rudolph. But it also is an interesting quarterback room. As Charlie Batch told me tonight on our special at 7:30, he says this reminds him of 2010 when you had Roethlisberger, Charlie Batch. You also had Byron Leftwich and Dennis Dixon. Mason Rudolph is a guy who could make the transition whenever that time comes, and I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I certainly hope so. I still think Roethlisberger can play, and if he keeps playing, fine. You can keep him around and make him learn, not unlike Aaron Rodgers did under Brett Favre in Green Bay. He waited 3 years, so that can still happen. I wonder how many quarterbacks they're going to keep and who of these 4. I know Mason Rudolph will be here, but it's a battle between Joshua Dobbs and Landry Jones, most likely, you would think, because they're not going to keep 4 on this roster. Very interesting in the preseason. And, again, you'll see it all on KDK. We got those 4 games. All right, let's go to line 2, David in Finleyville. Hey, David, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for taking my call. The question, Penguins being up 1 game, why rush to get Malkin back while you can have him rest a little more until we get back home? I'll hang up a little.
All right. I think a lot of people might have had the same question you did, but the fact is, they pretty much deem him healthy to go. And if he's healthy to go, then he should play. Listen, you only have 7 of these games in this series. You don't want to fritter any of them away if you can avoid it. I understood the question because I thought the same thing. If he's not 100%, then you don't risk him. But he is apparently close to 100%, so therefore he plays. Hagelin, on the other hand, not so much. He's still in Pittsburgh. He didn't even make the trip down to Washington, D.C. 412-575-2600. Let's go out to James in Saxonburg. Hello, James. How are you?
How you doing, Bob? Real quick, I want to run down the 7 picks and tell you what I think if they'll be on the opening day roster. Then I want to hear what you have to say.
All right.
The first pick, he'll definitely be there. The next Troy, the next Cornell Lake, he'll be there.
Oh.
The second pick, wide receiver from Oklahoma State, he'll definitely be there because we traded Blunt, and all you have to do is play the Pitt tape, and he killed us. The third pick, the quarterback from Oklahoma State, I love him. I think he's the next Ben Roethlisberger. In 2 or 3 years, he's our franchise quarterback.
All right.
The fourth pick, I know nothing about. Like Mel Kiper and everything says he's a work in progress.
Right.
You know, he's got talent, but I say he's practice squad this year. He won't be there opening day.
Okay.
The fifth pick, Penn State guy, 50-50. If he shines on special teams, he might make it if a dime package or something, but he has to be a stud on special teams.
All right.
Now, this next guy from NC State, he can play running back, he can play fullback, he can play tight end. He might have a shot if he can play tight end and is willing to block, because I love our 2 tight ends, Jesse James, the guy we got from San Francisco, but they don't like to mix it up. And then the last guy, the defensive tackle from Alabama. I hate Alabama. I never watch him, but I did watch him last year against LSU because I thought they might lose. But their tackle, and if this is the guy that was stopping LSU all day, I'd say he has a 50-50 shot. I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. Well, first of all, you know, Jalen Samuels is a guy who's intriguing to me, but they have Roosevelt Nixon. They gave him a long-term contract. So I don't know how many of those kind of people you can have. I do agree with Chukwuma Okafor. I think he could be a practice squad guy potentially because he's not going to be relied upon unless they do need just bodies and depth back there on the offensive line. Okorafor is probably one of those guys who's going to be practice squad eligible and should make it there. Marcus Allen, I think they're going to need him to be what he was at Penn State, a physical guy. I remember a lot of games I saw him play. I like what I saw there. You're right about Rudolph. A lot of people don't like that pick only because they felt the need that they wanted to get more defensive guys. But when you get an opportunity to get a guy like that who they valued as a first-round pick, then you should take him when you get the chance. And I got the feeling, too, talking to a lot of people over there, that, you know, if you look at the AFC North, you had number 1 pick overall, Baker Mayfield, Cleveland. He's going to be their quarterback in the future if everything goes right. Then you had Lamar Jackson taken by Baltimore. They moved up in the late first round to get him. He's going to be their future quarterback. Cincinnati has Andy Dalton right now. How long could he keep playing? They may need a future quarterback, and I think the Steelers jumped Cincinnati. That's why they moved up 3 spots to avoid that scenario so they could take Mason Rudolph and not Cincinnati. That's just my gut on that. But thank you for the call. We're due for a break. We'll take it, come back with more calls right here live on Pittsburgh CW.